ever get totally lost in something you love? Like hours just vanish, you're super productive, and it feels amazing.
Yeah.
That's flow state. And that's what we're diving into today.
It's fascinating stuff. It's more than just a feeling though, right? There's actual science behind it.
Right, and that's what's so cool about the sources for this deep dive. It's like our brains on rocket fuel, but it's not some new age concept. We're talking legitimate science here.
Absolutely. This goes back decades, actually. A psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he really pioneered this whole area.
Okay, so back in the 70s, what was he even researching?
So he was interviewing all these top performers.
Yeah.
Artists, athletes, chess masters, you name it, anyone at the very top of their game.
Across all these different fields. So what was he trying to find? What connects them all?
Exactly. And you know what he discovered? This common experience when they were in the zone. Time would disappear. They're totally absorbed in the task, this deep sense of satisfaction.
Sounds kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But why should we even care? Is it just about getting stuff done?
It's more than that. Think about that rush you get when you're really enjoying something.
Okay, yeah.
That's dopamine. And flow triggers that too.
No way, seriously. Our brains actually reward us for being in flow.
It's true, but it goes even deeper. Csikszentmihalyi found flow is tied to happiness, fulfillment, even a sense of purpose.
Whoa. Okay, so it's not just about getting work done, it's about feeling happier while we're doing it.
You got it. And one of the most fascinating things is how it impacts our actual performance.
Oh, interesting.
In a flow state, our brains become incredibly focused, way more efficient. It's like our abilities get a supercharge.
So sharper focus, problem solving, creativity, all that good stuff we could use a little more of.
Exactly. Think about someone like Usain Bolt.
Okay, yeah, the fastest man alive.
He's talked about finding flow during his races.
That blows my mind. To be performing at that level and experiencing that at the same time, incredible. But what about those of us who aren't, elite athletes? Is flow even achievable for everyday people?
Absolutely. It's not reserved just for Olympians or geniuses or whatever. One of the sources used the example of a writer. They were totally lost in their work. Hours fly by. The words just pour out and they come out of it energized.
That's the dream. To find that flow in my own work, be totally immersed and energized. So how do we tap into it? Is there like a secret formula?
Well, it's not exactly a secret, but there are a few key ingredients. And luckily, these sources break them down in a really clear way.
Okay, lay it on me. What are these magical ingredients?
So one of the sources breaks it down like this: 4 main things to look for. Complete concentration, clear goals, a sense of control, and this idea of losing self-consciousness.
Okay.
Like all your mental energy is just laser focused on the task, and all the doubts and distractions, they just kind of fade away.
It's like when you're so into a good book or a movie, the rest of the world just disappears, right?
Yeah.
You're just totally immersed.
Exactly. And one thing that's often overlooked is this need for immediate feedback.
Oh, yeah.
Think about athletes, they have coaches, right? Writers get notes, musicians, they hear the music as they're making it. This feedback loop, it's crucial because it tells us how we're doing, how to adjust.
That's true. When you put it like that, it's like video games.
Yeah.
They're almost designed to get you in flow. You've got points, feedback, progress all the time.
Right.
It keeps you hooked.
Exactly. So the challenge becomes, how do we get that kind of feedback loop into other parts of our lives? Even when it's not so, instant. One source suggested breaking down big tasks into smaller chunks. Celebrate the small wins along the way.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like giving yourself those little dopamine hits to stay motivated, right?
Precisely. Now, all those ingredients are important, but we also got to talk about the things that hold us back from flow. The sources mentioned fear of failure, obvious one, right? Distractions.
Oh, yes.
And that negative self-talk.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I could be my own worst enemy when I'm trying to focus.
It happens to all of us. But the good news is, once you know what your obstacles are, you can start to tackle them. One source talked about creating a dedicated workspace.
I like that, yeah.
Even if it's just a corner of your living room.
Right.
Minimize distractions. Signal to your brain, okay, it's focus time.
I've noticed a difference in my productivity when I actually do that.
Yeah.
Make a space that's calm, organized.
It makes a world of difference. And speaking of minimizing distractions, another big one the sources brought up, that digital detox.
Okay, gotta admit, the thought of disconnecting, like fully for any real length of time, it kind of stresses me out.
I hear you.
But I also know I'm constantly bombarded with notifications and updates and stuff, which is like the opposite of flow friendly, right?
It's true. And the research is there. Too much screen time messes with our attention spans, our sleep, everything. Even short breaks can help a ton, though.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm willing to give it a try. Any other practical tips from the sources we can use? Ways to, like, invite more flow into our lives?
Oh yeah, tons. One source suggested experimenting with music. Apparently, the right tunes can really get you focused.
Absolutely. I mean, we all use music to set the mood, right? Get energized at the gym, relax. Why not use it for focus, too?
So what are we talking here, Mozart or bust?
Not even close. The source has actually suggested trying out different things, see what works for you. Some people, classical music, ambient sounds, that does it. Others, maybe sermon scores or nature sounds even.
Makes sense. Sometimes I need total silence to focus. Other times, it's like a lo-fi playlist really helps me tune everything out.
Exactly. It's all about finding what clicks for you,
Yeah.
Tune out the noise and get in that flow state. Now, aside from the practical stuff, one thing I found really interesting was this emphasis on the challenge-skill balance.
The what now?
Challenge-skill balance. Basically, it's this sweet spot. The task is challenging enough to keep you hooked, but not so hard it's overwhelming. Okay, yeah, I've definitely experienced both ends of that. Too easy, and I'm bored out of my mind. Too hard, and it's like, forget it, I'm out.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot, that's key. Too simple, we get bored. Too hard, we get frustrated, right? But when our skills line up with the challenge, boom, that's where the flow happens.
So how do we find that sweet spot? Is it just constantly looking for harder and harder things?
That's where this idea and a growth mindset comes in. The sources were big on this. See challenges as a chance to grow, not a threat.
So instead of avoiding stuff that seems tough, it's more like, okay, I can learn this or I can figure this out.
Exactly. Reframe those challenges. They're not roadblocks, they're stepping stones. And as you master new skills, you naturally look for bigger challenges, right? It's like this upward spiral of growth and flow.
Okay, that's a cool way to look at it. Not be afraid to fail, but see it all as part of reaching your potential. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. We went from like the actual science behind flow to ways we can actually use it in our lives.
And we learned it's not just about productivity hacks, it's about finding more joy, more creativity in what we do.
Unlocking this whole other level of performance and fulfillment, right? Most of us had no idea it was even possible. So next time you find yourself totally lost in something, time just flies by. You feel this like effortless joy. Remember, that's the power of flow.
And the more we understand it, the more we can use it to unlock our true potential in our work, in our lives, everything.
This has been awesome. So till next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep chasing that flow state.